What's up everybody, it's B-Bone, and I'm here to show you the results of my playoff predictions on the Compendium, as well as give my predictions. So you can tell, my playoff predictions did not go according to plan. I did predict Liquid as the wildcard winner, but no predictions are correct on the first page. To be fair, considering the popularity of Mirana, I did expect her to be picked up a bit more than she would, and I never thought to see the rise of Skyeth and Razor come to near as much popularity. And Barrier was considered a very strong hero, but considering the importance of Roshan, Lycan was banned more than Barrier, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was like 7 through 9 heroes were picked nor banned. It was something like 97 out of 105 or something like that. So I guess 8 heroes were neither picked nor banned. I'm not too sure what the rest of these were, but I was wrong on that. But I got some right. I predicted Mirana because of the arrow combinations. I picked Lycan because of the tower damage, but I'm pretty sure Rasta took that miles ahead. Anyways, lowest GPM, I guess I was a bit wrong with Treant, because Treant, if he wins the early game, he'll have tower gold to boost up his GPM, and I figured Treant would be playing from behind a lot more often. Anyways, I was right on a couple of these. 10 through 15 minutes, Cloud9 lost to DK in 11 minutes. Aegis was stolen by the other team 5 to 6 times in total. 41 to 50 couriers were sniped in total throughout the event. And meanwhile, a lot more than 7 through 9 heroes were denied. When there was a doom, there was a deny in the game. Anyways, show more info. Oh, I didn't understand this question. Anyways, well, I was wrong. Still, 0 through 10, 30 plus minute games with no Roshan kills. That really speaks to the importance of Roshan in evenly matched up games, and if one team doesn't snowball out of control in the beginning, then Roshan just becomes such a key point, because having that extra life or buying back into securing the Roshan so you can have that extra life is just so important. And again, that's largely in focus of the dire side. So again, you already heard my rant about the dire side being more advantaged when the teams are evenly matched. So yeah, not much more can be said. My first 4 places, my first 2 picks were very optimistic, but it was a bit of my fanboyism sneaking through. I'm not the biggest fan of Alliance, but I do like them quite a bit. But anyways, these 4 at least made it through the finals, although it's looking very, very unlikely that EG and DK will be in such low places, considering that my personal finals matchup will be DK or CG, with DK taking the whole thing. Anyways, let's move on to some of the main event predictions. So the team with the most kills in a single game. Oh, it's in a single game. Anyways, I thought it would be Vici, because Vici is a team that likes to play very aggressively early on. They like to snowball out of control, and they can get pretty far ahead, and if they manage to snowball, they can just use the late game with the Salar and just burst people down with the shotgun. So I thought Vici could potentially get the most kills. If I had to choose a second option, it would probably be Navi or DK, because Navi are very aggressive as well, and DK like to pick unorthodox lineups that can vary from either mass teamfight to mass gank. EG is more known as a teamfight team. C9 is more of a patient team / efficient team, looking more on tower trades and more efficient farming. And IG could potentially be a possibility as well. I'm actually reconsidering it. It might be a choice between Vici and IG, but I'll go with my gut and say Vici. Team with the least kills, I think there will be a game where LG just gets wrecked. And considering they're up against IG, well, it's a Chinese versus Chinese game, and I do think IG is significantly better than LGD, so there might be a game where LGD just does not get above 4 kills. Still, you can't forget 22-0 IG versus EG, 18-0 Alliance versus C9 in Dream League. There are games where teams just get completely shut out. Still, I do think LGD is probably the weakest team, along with Navi based on the performance. So I do think LGD will get the least kills, and if Navi are pretty weak looking, I mean, you can't count Navi in a main event, but they'll at least get kills. Team with the most deaths, I think C9 is one of the teams that can get on tilt more easily than some of the other teams. Navi is another one of those teams. I think it would probably be a sort of an option between C9 and Navi, just because they can get on tilt a bit more. Hooves can start feeding. Pilot Eye can start feeding, Bone 7 can start feeding. When I say on tilt, that means they're getting into this mindset that makes them play a lot worse. Meanwhile, the Chinese teams, I think, are a bit more patient, so even when they're behind, they probably just won't start feeding randomly. So I pick C9 in this case, because I do think they'll lose against Navi, but that matchup is legitimately a coin flip, and it probably depends on the sides. And considering that Navi likes Raiden a bit more, C9 could potentially take the series. So, actually, I think C9 is probably a bit more favored if Navi likes Raiden as much as they've been showing. Team with the least deaths, EG knows how to not die, and I think EG will have the least deaths in a single game. So, EG is one of those interesting teams because sometimes they, or actually not sometimes, very often they pick bend but don't break strats, and then they just rely on the dire advantage or their late game teamfights decision making, which is unparalleled to bail them out of trouble. But if they get ahead, they're just so difficult to take down. Mason plays usually very, very strong carries who can fight reasonably well or just manage to survive, whether it be Brewmaster, Weaver, Storm, a bunch of other carries. But those are the three Mason carries when you think of Mason. And those heroes are hard to kill. RTZ, if he gets off to a good start, it's difficult to kill him. PPD, if he gets a Treant, his Ozly protected Zai is an exceptional support player, never really putting himself at risk. And how often do you see Universe feed in the offlane? So I think EG will be the team with the least stats in one of these games. Team with the most assists, you have to sort of consider this as one of the probably 5-man death ball teams because they'll likely have the most assists since they'll have people participating in every kill. Meanwhile, teams like Navi, C9, they're more able to use 2 or 3-man skirmishes. So teams like EG, IG, Newbie, those teams like to 5-man a bit more often. And I think Newbie, considering they place such a high emphasis on Tidehunter and on those 5-man deathball heroes, and since they are in the winners bracket and they are more likely to play more games than a team like LGD, I think they will have the best chance of getting the most assists. Meanwhile, the team with the least assists, well, this sort of correlates with the least kills. So I picked LGD since I think they will get the least kills, and that correlates to the least assists in a single game. And meanwhile, I do think DK will get a game where they just snowball out of control. Now, this is a bit more difficult because they start in the winners bracket where the opponents are much more tough, or are tougher based on what we've seen thus far. And meanwhile, the team in the lowest bracket, I mean, I think it would be DK or IG would be probably the best choices here. Still, I think DK, since they have a greater number of games, they have more shots to make the win faster. And they're playing EG in the first round, then they'd have to play the winner of Newbie or Vici, or they'd have to be sent down in the losers bracket where I think they'd probably play, I don't even know. Team with the most number of heroes played, DK show themselves to be very versatile with their draft. They're picking up support juggernauts. They pick up Tuskar in a couple games. They like to get Ice Ice Ice. Well, I'm a bit disappointed with Ice 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 hero versatility in this tournament, but they like to pick up Burning. I feel like it's a different carry every single game, whether it be a Morphling, a Brewmaster, a Weaver, heroes of that nature. So I think DK will get the most number of heroes. Meanwhile, since I think LGD will lose very convincingly to IG, and they will be shut out 0-2, they will be likely the team to play the least number of heroes as a result of that. LGD is obviously a really strong team, but I think there is just a gap between LGD and IG for a very good reason. You know, team with the most Roshan kills, I might change this pick because I don't know if DK really emphasizes Rush compared to some of these other teams. I think C9 and EG emphasize Rush a bit more. But if the game goes late, I think DK are one of the teams that can sort of qualify for those late games. So this would be a choice of team DK and EG, and it would depend on who's the dire side. So I reconsider this. I'm still going to pick DK over EG. Team with the most courier kills, I mean, after seeing Pilot Eye with this 4 courier snipe, I don't think many teams will be falling for the support bounty hunter pick as much. But C9 have shown that you gotta watch out for your courier, otherwise we will snipe it out. So that's gonna put some psychological effect, and plus, this is such a random guess that any of these teams could possibly make it. So I'm just gonna pick C9 since they did have that 4 courier snipe off with Pilot Eye's bounty hunter in a single game. Team with the most rapier purchases, I mean, we've seen Ferrari with December Spirit get multiple rapiers, so If they let Ember Spirit through, if IG gets in a hole, and Ferrari has the Ember Spirit, they might snowball. So this is actually across all games in the main event. So actually I might... So these two are right. I think this will be correct. Or EG. Because this is across all games rather than a single game. I'm just going to pick DK for this. C9, since it's in the losers bracket, I might reconsider this choice. But I don't really know to whom I should consider it to. I think Vici is sort of an aggressive team that doesn't really care about. But if Vici are pushing early on, the other team will be scared to sound the courier. So I think, I don't know. Since it's across all the games, it would probably be better to pick a winner's bracket favorite team. So we'll just go with VG. And since it's across all games, we'll just go with, I've never seen EG pick up a rapier. Meanwhile, I have seen DK. I think I'll pick a newbie, because I think they're a team that, with DK, can potentially run the Ember Spirit. And I've seen newbie run the Gyrocopter for How a couple times, so they could potentially pick up the rapier as well. Highest GPM, NB plays pretty greedy. It depends on which hero he can get. So I picked NB, because single game. I do think Ferrari can potentially be the most explosive player in a single game with the most kills. Meanwhile, there will be a game where Puppy feeds. So actually, I'm gonna probably change that to an LGD player, because I do think C9 will recognize, alright, we gotta shut down Puppy, and I think Navi will recognize that as well. So just based on overall game plan, we'll just say DD feeds a bit more. Zhao is known for picking these strong teamfight heroes, so I think Zhao is a solid choice for most assists. Burning for last hits makes sense as well. Player with the most denies, this is just so random. I'm just going to pick Hiroki, even though I think he does tend to get focused down a bit harder than most. So I'll just pick Hiroki. This is a random one as well. Most number of heroes played. I'm going to switch this from Ice Ice Ice, because this meta has sort of dictated, alright, we want to have Tidehunter for on the dire side. If not, we'll just get Ice 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 like a Bristleback or something like that. So I'm just going to pick a person who probably picks a bit more, and Burning does have a pretty high versatile carry pool. Actually, we saw Mushi play 18 heroes in the last TI, so we'll just go with the Mushi. Fuck it. Most rampages, we'll just go with the AGOD Arteezy, because there are games where Arteezy gets shut down, and I've seen them. Arteezy gets shut down, and then suddenly EG just comes out of the team fight out of nowhere, and Arteezy gets like an ultra kill on a rampage with a Razor or Templar Assassin. So EG known for helping to bail Arteezy out of trouble, and credit to Arteezy, he recognizes that. He knows his team does bail him out of trouble, but you still have to be a good player to capitalize on it, and Arteezy is a very good player. Meanwhile, VG, I think I picked the team that has probably the most aggressive first blood potential, which is Vici, as well as which other support duo? I don't think MMY and Lanham rotate as much for DK, and since across all the games, I picked up a Vici team, so we'll just go with Fenrir, but it could potentially be Fenrir or FY. Again, this is a bit more of a toss-up. Player with the most beyond godlike streaks, I picked Salar, because if they get off to a good start, then Salar can just snowball out of control, because they pick up very strong stay-ahead carries like Morphling, like, I don't know, Luna, heroes like that, who if you stay ahead, it's just very difficult to bring them down, most notably the Morphling. Here with the player with the most Aegis pickups, I think DK prioritized getting Mushi to Aegis a bit more than other teams, so we'll just go with Mushi there. Highest average GPM, we'll just go with Burning, because he always finds his farm. So yeah, those are my predictions. See how many get right. I'm a bit more confident in these more than the playoffs, because the playoffs are just a completely different meta, but now that we've seen the meta develop a bit more, then we might be able to see what actually might happen. So hopefully enjoy that. I might do like a quick Dota 1 funcast tomorrow if I have some spare time to relieve some of the tension, but I know you guys are probably anticipating TI4, so I might just do that after TI4 when the games get less serious. So probably going to cast a Dota 1 old replay game soon, again, for people who sort of watching for Dota 1. Dota 1 is dead. There's no two ways about it. The only places where it's alive is probably in China and the Philippines, but there haven't been, I should say the professional Dota 1 scene is dead. There haven't been any new replays in over a year on Mineski, S-Gamer, or Gosu Gamers. IceFrog hasn't updated the patch to 6.81, so sorry to say, new Dota 1 games will not be coming. If you want to watch Dota 1, leave me some requests, and I might be able to cast some of the old Dota 1 games, but I already have a Dota 1 game in mind that I do want to cast. It's not an epic game, but it should be fun nonetheless. But thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.